Why do good women want to leave good men? Today, we're going to be breaking down this question. So if you are a woman who's married to someone who's not violent, who is loyal, who is sane, who doesn't suffer from terrible addictions, but you sometimes feel like maybe you're not compatible, or maybe he's not the one, or maybe it would be just easier without him, then stick with me because this video is for you. I want to help you to understand and break down your own psychology. And the reason I can do this is because I've been in this boat and I can totally relate to the types of thoughts that might lead a woman down this path. But I also think it's destructive, it's unhelpful, and it's taking you further and further away from the things that you want in your life. You want love, you want understanding, deep emotional connection, chemistry and desire and romance, and a stable, peaceful household. And these thoughts that make good women leave good men are not going to give you any of those things. So let's break down exactly what leads us down this path and wind it back, walk ourselves off the edge so we can understand what we can do instead. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Avital. I'm the founder of Hi Fam. I'm the mother of 5, and I'm on a mission to help you to build a strong family culture. Listen, I believe in family life. I believe that having a marriage and children is one of the best paths, the most proven paths, especially for us women to find meaning and fulfillment and joy in our lives. To feel a purpose, to feel that deep, unconditional love that all of us as humans kind of seek. And so I'm here to help you make that a reality. Anecdotally, I personally have been seeing more and more women in their late 30s and early 40s find reasons to leave their marriages. And these reasons are not the kind of historical reasons that we used to see marriages breaking up over, like infidelity, like gambling problems, like alcohol issues, like mental illness, or like physical or emotional abuse. In fact, these women are often coming out on TikTok, on social media, and sharing that they're leaving a good man, that there's nothing wrong with him, but they are just done with the marriage, that the marriage has run its course, that they feel they're no longer compatible, that although he's a good guy and they still even love him, they've decided to move on. And if you have been somewhat seduced, or if you find this idea compelling, enticing, intriguing, and interesting, then this video is for you. And let me just state my bias right off the bat. I'm not neutral on this matter. I think that keeping families together, keeping households intact, and offering children both of their parents, raising them in a loving, stable environment is the goal. Not everyone can meet that goal, and some divorces need to happen. Sometimes a man really is the narcissist or the abuser that you think he is, and the marriage needs to end for everybody's benefit. But I'm not talking about that, so let's just put that case to one side. I'm talking about the situation where women say and own and know that they are considering leaving a good man and even a man that they love. So why does this happen? Well, here's what I see. Number one, they become the man that they wanted. I see so many of my students, high-functioning, highly competent women, who step into a marriage and start to take charge of the home. There's that great saying, men enter into a marriage hoping that women will never change. Women enter into a marriage hoping that men will change, and both are disappointed. But this idea that I'm going to change my man, that I'm going to take charge, that I'm going to do things my way, that he's going to end up meeting my standards is a typical, probably subconscious drive of many of us women. Women take control. We have standards of how we want the household to run, of what we want the parenting to look like. And when we take control, we unintentionally step into that masculine energy. We take leadership at home. And then we often emasculate our partner. We push him to one side, we make him seem irrelevant or incompetent or incapable, and we send the message that we don't need him, that we want him, we like him, we love him, but we don't need him. We have that boss babe energy. Now, boss babe energy works really well when you need ambition and drive and goal setting and leadership, like in your work, in entrepreneurship, at the gym, sometimes even in our parenting. But it often breaks a marriage when you're boss babing too hard, when you wear the pants, when you take charge and take control, when you become commanding and demanding. The truth is that often us women will belittle our men, will emasculate them, will make them seem childish, will accuse them of being a man child and having a man cold and a man flu, and laugh at them for not knowing where things are or not knowing how to operate things by themselves or not being able to function without us or having poor judgment or being overall irrelevant. But when you emasculate a man, you also make him unattractive to you. He becomes repellent. He becomes pathetic in your eyes. You see him as superfluous, as a drain, a drag, a burden on you. Let me illustrate this point with parenting, for example. A woman will often have a baby, fall madly in love with that baby, spend all of her energy nurturing that baby, touching, holding, cuddling, feeding, and thinking about and obsessing over the baby. And every time the man tries to step in and tries to help and tries to relieve her of her stress, she says, "No, you don't do it well enough. You can't do it. It's only me. Only I can do it." And she pushes him so far out of the equation that she's created an incredible bond with this baby, but broken the bond with her husband. She's made him feel that he's not part of this unit, that he's not needed here, that he can't help, that he's incapable, that he's incompetent, and that overall he's more of a drag than he is of service. Then the woman sees that he doesn't know how to do anything because he hasn't been given the chance to try or to learn. He can't bathe the baby. He can't change a diaper properly because she never stepped out and allowed him to step forward. She kept him small and now he's small. And that is disgusting to her. That is repellent to her. That is gross. Like, he's not a man. He's another child around here. I have to do everything. But what she doesn't see is that she's created that dynamic. Now, just as we create that dynamic, we can reverse it by allowing men to step up, step in, and not hovering over them, not helicoptering them, not emasculating and belittling them, not keeping them small and incapable, but rather speaking into their competence, trusting them, allowing them, stepping back a little bit, and allowing him to be a man. Number two, many of my students have bought into the myth that men are just women with beards. Culture has pushed this androgyny, this sameness, over the idea of complementary. And so we've lost the polarization and the differences between the sexes. Now, I think that's good in a lot of areas. I think it's great for us to have equality in the workplace, for us both to parent, for us both to earn, for us both to do housework. That all works really well and it's fine. And the truth is that men and women do have a lot more in common than that separates us. It's great that we've opened up all of these opportunities for women. And it's great that we've allowed men to be more effeminate and more emotional and that kind of thing where they want to be. But where this doesn't work well is in creating desire between us and our partner. Running a household, parenting together, friendship, those might all thrive on sameness and on equality. But desire thrives on polarity. It's a completely different set of rules. When it comes to chemistry and sexuality, equality and sameness is typically not going to work. When women focus obsessively on equity and equality and fairness, they often lose desire. They become roommates. Whilst household work might need equality, desire needs polarity. It needs that magnetic energy of opposites attracting. Now, this is a hard one to get right because you might be pushing for and fighting for equality and equity in many areas of your marriage, but you have to be careful not to trample that polarity in your chemistry, in your desire, in your magnetic attraction to each other. And so many women do trample that. You will vanquish your attraction to your partner if you're constantly keeping tabs and tallying things up and talking about fairness all the time. If you keep complaining about your mental load or comparing how many diapers you've each changed or who slept more last night, you're destroying the tension, the friction, the positive masculine, feminine pull and polarity between you because you're only focusing on ways that you should be the same instead of also focusing on the beauty in your differences. What attracts people to each other is often that harmony of the differences between them and the complementary energy of masculine and feminine versus the sameness of roommates. Number three, they no longer need their husband and he feels it. Even if you love your husband and you want your husband, if you don't need him, you will never have a deep connection with him. Excuse the gross generalization, but on the whole, men need to feel instrumental, not optional. It's just like women need to feel adored and cherished and protected. If you don't feel safe in your marriage, you will never open up and you will never feel that joy and that deep connection. If a man doesn't feel needed in his, he will distance himself from you. He'll protect his ego, his energy, his sense of self by creating a space between you. And that space will grow and grow the more you feel that you don't need him. And so it becomes a vicious cycle because as he pulls back, you're like, fine, well, I don't need him. I'll just do more myself. I can do this by myself. I don't need no man. But the more you send the message that you don't need a man, the more likely it is that you won't have a man. Because for a man to feel that he's not needed makes him feel hopeless, nihilistic, depressed. I get the independent woman mindset. I get the woman who says, I can take out the trash myself. I make my own money. I can raise my kids by myself. I don't need no man. But that's the exact type of energy that drives a wedge in a relationship. It makes men feel superfluous, makes them feel irrelevant, and that leads them down a path of nihilism and helplessness, hopelessness, depression, and anxiety. We women don't understand this because it's just not our primary need to be needed, and we just feel needed by virtue of being mothers. But when you push a man out, when you create that bad triangulation of you and the baby against the father, then you're going to find him pushed out and you're going to find the marriage fractured and broken. Find ways to need your man. Everybody needs to feel needed, men in particular. And the truth is, we do need each other. If you just look at the very many things that your husband does for you, the very many needs that he fills for you, whether it's physical, emotional, financial, security, social, prestige, standing, status, technical favors he does for you, acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time that he spends with you, basic friendship that he gives you, anything that he provides for you is something that you could show him that you do need him for, that you cherish, that you adore, that you wouldn't know what to do without, that you would be lost without him because you do need him. That would be a much better energy to bring to your man. Number 4, going for mother energy instead of lover energy. Listen, your husband can see you as his mother or his lover, but he can't see you as both. And if you're always calling him a man-child or saying, oh, he's my third child, or looking at the ways that he is childish and patronizing him and belittling him and emasculating him like we've spoken about and putting him down and making him seem irrelevant and like you don't even need him, what is he even good for anyway? If you are bossing him around, demanding he does things, criticizing him, which is a big one, then he's going to feel that you are like another mother. And he's going to play into that role like another child. If you're leading from fear, from control, from resentment, then you're going to lose all of your attraction to a man that you have accidentally infantilized. Stop treating him like a baby. No one's attracted to their child. If you want to be attracted to him, you're going to need to treat him like a full-grown man. Number 5, they're trying to solve desire with conversation. Women are obsessed with words. Case in point. We like talking. Women talk about communication all the time. In fact, when women are asked why they divorce men, which they do, 70% of divorces are initiated by women, then they often cite lack of communication as one of the big issues that they have. And many of my students come to me saying, the real issue in our marriage is communication. But so often, the real issue is not communication. Now, don't get me wrong, communication is important. I teach communication skills inside of Married You because, yes, we need to be able to talk about our parenting path, about our vision for the future, about our finances, about our in-laws. Of course we do. But what's really missing is not more conversation. And so when you think it's just more about communication and more about talking and more about being understood, you go to therapy and you talk more and you get more validation. And the therapist justifies your belief that without communication, you can't have a marriage. If he doesn't learn to open up, if he doesn't learn to cry, if he doesn't learn to listen, if you can't talk about your issues with him more and more and more, then the marriage is indeed incompatible and you should indeed dissolve it. But what this misses is that more and more talking and communication can never and will never fix the root problem, which is actually a problem of desire. Communication tools are great, but they don't create chemistry. Desire isn't logical. It needs mystery and tension and play and polarity. And so many women arrive at this point of frustration in their marriage and they think therapy is the answer. And then when therapy fails, they're like, well, then I guess there's nothing left to do. They feel hopeless and helpless because the talking and talking and talking hasn't led to feelings of closeness, attraction, connection, and bonding. But bonds are not created with words. Think about you and your baby. Did you bond through deep conversation? Did you bond through Socratic debate? Did you bond through active listening and emotional validation? No. People bond on a much more primal, animalistic level. Eye contact, physical touch, closeness, intimacy, and sex. These are the ways that couples create desire, bonds, mystery, and playfulness. And you'll never solve for a lack of that by talking more. Inside of Married You, I teach communication skills. But inside of Desire Lab, I teach desire skills. We run experiments on increasing chemistry. And the average Desire Lab student goes from about a 3 on the desire scale when they enter to about a 7 or 8 within just 30 days. And that's because humans can actually reclaim desire. It's not the kind of thing that just can't be brought back to life, that you either have it or you don't. So many couples think, well, the love just died. The chemistry's just gone. Well, that's just the way it goes when you age and when you grow old or after 10 years together. But that's all complete BS. The truth is that desire is the type of thing you can nurture and create. If you starve it, it will wilt. If you feed it, it will grow. I could teach you how to feed it in Desire Lab. So check it out at highfam.com/desirelab. And that leads me to the next point, which is stress in the streets and silence in the sheets. There's one thing that all men really, really want from their marriage. One thing that they would just be happy with for the rest of their life. One thing on their mind. They have a one-track mind. And no, it's not sex. What men really, really want from their marriage is peace. That's right. And you once offered that to your partner. You once offered a sense of friendship, of girl next door ease, of just being in his corner, of being his cheerleader, of seeing him as a hero, of having things relaxed and chilled and smoothed over, of not nagging, of not demanding, of not criticizing, of not moaning and complaining. You once gave him that sense that things were cool, that you were easy to please, that you were low maintenance. You once gave him the feeling that he was the guy, that he could do no wrong, that you would handle the annoying things with his job or with his family or with his time management. Not to worry, you've got this, you're okay. You gave him peace at home. You gave him peace in the streets. But you also gave him some stress in the sheets, and I bet he loved that. When chemistry and desire were high, there was a lot of tension and good friction and polarity between you. But a couple of years into marriage and parenting, and those tendencies flip. We start to create a lot of stress at home, a lot of friction, a lot of finger pointing and blaming and tit for tat and competition and a constant tally of fairness. And we create a lot of stress in the home. He comes home to critique. And that might all be justified. You might be right in every single one of your complaints. But from his perspective, the marriage is strenuous. Seeing you is a risk of getting told off, of having a long list of things that he's not good at placed in front of his eyes, of you pointing out all his shortcomings, demanding more of him, and never just being happy with who he is or loving him unconditionally. And if you pair that with a lowering of desire, silence in the sheets, that's the type of thing that leads both couples to build resentment and to feel repelled. Many of us women who once offered a peaceful home environment now radiate overwhelm, exhaustion, and critique. And that's not a criticism of you. It's just a reality of what often happens inside of our marriages. I know it definitely happened in mine. But that is reversible. Like everything I'm sharing with you here, it's not a reason to leave a good man. So what do all of these points have in common? Well, they're all mindsets that we women adopt as we go along further into marriage and parenting. And they're all mindsets that don't serve us. They don't take us closer to our partner. They don't build a more stable, fulfilling, and fruitful marriage. They actually take us further away and make us feel more isolated, more frustrated, more alone, more exasperated. And they're all mindsets that can be reframed. And they should be, because you have it within your power to look at your partner as a hero you're in love with, or to look at him as useless, irrelevant, or worse. But if you continue to listen to voices on TikTok, on Instagram, culture out there at large, then you will continue to double down on these limiting beliefs. You'll continue to destroy the polarity in your relationship, to bring stress instead of peace, and to feel repelled instead of attracted to your partner. And here's the final point that I'll make of why good women leave good men. Good women invest in every area of their growth. They are always trying to learn, to improve, to become better mothers, better homemakers, better at their job, better in the gym. Many good women are on a never-ending quest of self-development, self-therapy, evolution, enlightenment. But whilst they're investing tens of thousands of dollars and hours every week in reading the books and watching the videos that are supposed to somehow evolve their souls, what they're not investing in is marriage skills. And ironically, often it's actually the therapeutic and the spiritual worlds and realms of content that lead women to question their husbands, to disrespect their husbands, to make them feel unneeded or irrelevant, to belittle and patronize them, to operate in their marriages with a very entitled, demanding, and controlling energy, which is going to make any man retreat into his shell. Honestly, I think that good women like you and me are getting some really bad advice out there. We're being told to expect queen energy, to treat ourselves as the prize, that we don't need anyone. And of course, you pair that with bigger trends in the world like hookup culture or the complete destigmatization and even the glamorization of divorce. And it leads many of us to think, why am I even here? I grew up with shows like Sex and the City glamorizing hookup culture, or Eat, Pray, Love, which was heralded as a New York Times bestseller and on Oprah's must-read book club list, which showed the story of a good woman leaving a good man because she had to go on some kind of adventure. Solo travel and experiences around the world were somehow more important than the vows and the connection and the relationship that she had committed to. I think many of us grew up with the sense that chasing our careers, that the corner office would bring us self-actualization, would bring us true fulfillment and purpose in our life. And I think it was a lie. I love what I do for work. It really is meaningful and fulfilling, but it pales in comparison to the joy and the meaning and the purpose that I get from raising my family. And if you're raising a family with kids, with a significant other, especially if they're your children's biological parent, you have every incentive in the world to make this a joyful, successful, functional relationship that really brings you a lot of stability and love in your life as you raise your children and as you grow old. There are lots of TikToks out there that are glamorizing and justifying and validating leaving a good man. Like, he doesn't need to commit adultery or be abusive for you to leave. You don't need a cause. You don't need a reason. It could be a no-fault reason to leave because the marriage has just run its course. There are PhDs of psychology telling us that marriage is not about longevity, that maybe you've just evolved past this relationship. To me, those messages are deeply irresponsible and misguided. I think they lead women like you and me astray into believing that the grass is somehow greener on the other side. I think it makes us give up too easily on really solid, good relationships that just need some work. Yes, we need to learn marriage skills and we need to know how to reclaim desire. And we need to know how to polarize feminine and masculine energy. And we need to know how to increase connection, communication, and chemistry between us. But no, leaving is not the answer. I know some divorces are necessary, but I really think that they should be a last resort, especially when kids are involved. And that's because a good, solid society is built on stable homes. Kids need stability. We need stability. So if we modern women just want more out of our marriages, then let's infuse them with more. Let's make them better. Let's elevate them. Let's become better wives ourselves so that we can enjoy our marriages more rather than fantasize about leaving them. I'm here to help you do just that at married-you.com. You can start by taking my free masterclass, Marriage by Design. And then I warmly invite you to join me inside of Married University, where you'll learn all the skills to become the friends, the lovers, the co-parents, and the partners you always wanted to be. You can end the madness, not the marriage. I just want you to know that I've seen this happen firsthand countless times. We have thousands of students who have gone through my program and taken what felt like a mediocre or flailing or wilting marriage that was questionable into a strong, powerful, compelling, and exciting adventure of a relationship. It's not rocket science, it's just countercultural. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have any of these mindsets parasitically crept into your mind as well and made you question your own marriage? Has this video given you some hope, some food for thought, and perhaps some strategies to move forward? And will I be welcoming you inside married-you.com? I very much hope so. Meanwhile, keep on living that high fam life. Bye.